Hello again, this is Safakhan from Safakhan.com, and this is the second part of a tutorial series on making a tower defense game using Processing 2. In this video, we're going to start to define what a tower is, but we're not going to do too much with it. We're just really going to lay out the groundwork for what we do in future tutorials. Also, I just want to remind you to check out my website, Safakhan.com. You'll find all the data files that we use in this tutorial and all the source as well, and all of those resources are freely available for you there. Okay, so let's open up our sketch folder, and inside the data folder there's a folder called towers, and this is going to have all of our towers, all of our tower sprites. Right now there's only one. By the time you download this, there might be more, because I'm going to be including what I come up with as the tutorial series progresses. So that's the sprite that we'll be working with now. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to create an array of P images, and we'll call it tower sprites. Alright, so let's define the array down here. So we'll go tower sprites is a new array of P images, and then we'll just set it up there. So right now we only have one, but for when we come up with more, we'll just add them here. So yeah, we'll just do load image, and we'll go towers \t1.png. Okay, and actually this should be a comma, not a semicolon. And then like I was saying, when we have more, we'll just enter them down here. Okay. Alright, so let's start working on the tower class. So we'll go down here and create a new class called tower. Alright, so this is going to have a cell X value, cell Y, and so these will obviously be where the tower is as far as the grid coordinates, so which cell it's occupying. Then we'll have another int for sprite index, and that's going to reference the array that we just created so that it knows what we should be drawing when it's asked to draw itself. And we'll do taint. So, and then we'll do one for tint, and that'll make it so that we could use the same sprite but just tint it a different color if we want to. So one note about our tower sprites array, the reason that we're doing it that way and not just loading each sprite into the tower is because if we did it that way, we might be loading the same sprite for two different towers, so we'd have this same information in memory more than once, and that's kind of inefficient. So this way we just load everything into our array, and anything that needs to use that image could just reference the array. Alright, so let's create our constructor. So we'll do tower, and we'll do just X and Y, and for now we'll just do sprite. Okay, so cell X equals X, cell Y is Y, and sprite index is sprite. Alright, so now let's create a function here, and it'll be the draw me. So this is what will happen if it's in the play area, then we'll be drawing it every frame. So it'll be image, and then so we'll call the we'll reference the tower sprites array using whatever sprite index we have stored. And then the position is going to be its cell position or cell coordinate times cell size, just like what we did in the last tutorial with the outline me method for our cells. So cell wide times cell size, and then its size is going to be the same as the cell, so cell size. Okay, so next let's go back up to the top and we'll create a variable that represents all towers in play, and we'll just create a section of variables here called gameplay variables. And this will just include anything that's in play. So it's going to be an array list of towers, and we'll call it all towers. And we'll just initialize it here, so as a new array list of towers. Alright, so that's ready. Now we could go back down to our cell class and set that up to be able to accept a tower as an occupant. So we'll actually store a tower named occupant, and it'll default to null. Alright, now let's create a method that can be called whenever we want to make sure that this cell can be built on, and so it'll return a boolean, and we'll call it buildable. And for now, all it's going to do is make sure that there's no tower currently occupying it. So we'll do if occupant is null, then we'll return true. Otherwise, return false. Okay, so now we can move on to the method that actually builds the tower onto it. So we'll call it build on, and it'll take in a tower. Whoops. And so first thing, just double check that the cell can be built on. So if buildable, then we'll set the occupant to T, and all towers dot add. So we'll add this to our array list of towers. So all towers dot add occupant. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Now we could start working on making it so that we actually create a tower whenever we click on a cell. For that, the first thing that we would need is we'd have to store the cell that we're hovering over. So we'll just create a cell variable here, and we'll just call it hover cell. And actually, let's default it to null. Alright, and if you remember from our last video tutorial, we're actually already checking what we're hovering over in our mouse check function. And so let's just use this, and we'll yeah. So we'll just say hover cell is grid X, Y, and then we'll clean the outline me function up or call up a little bit by just using the hover cell that we've already got stored here instead of re-referencing the grid. So outline me. Okay, so now let's actually create the tower whenever we press down on the cell that we're hovering over. To do that, we could use the mouse pressed function, and that's built into processing, and it's just called whenever we press down on the mouse. Alright, so before we make any reference calls to the cell we want to, or to the hover cell, we want to make sure that it's not null. So if hover cell isn't null. Alright, so now that we know that we have a hover cell, we could actually check to make sure that it's buildable. So we'll do so if hover cell dot buildable, and then so now we can create the new cell, or the new tower. So we'll do hover cell dot build on, and we'll just do it this way for now. We're definitely going to be changing it. This is just to get things going and for future debug purposes. But yeah, so let's just do new tower hover cell dot x hover cell dot y. So what we're just to show you that our constructor again takes in the cell x, cell y, and then the sprite index for the sprite array. So x, y, and then we'll just do 0 because that's all we've got in the array right now. So let's use what we've got. And okay, cool. So that makes it so that we press down, or when we press down, it creates the tower. But the last thing that we want to do is actually make sure that we're drawing the towers that are present. So to do that, we'll go to the draw function, and underneath our field and path, we could draw out the tower. So we'll do all towers, or actually let's do a for loop. So for int I equals 0. I is less than all towers dot length. Actually, since it's an array list, so we have to use dot size, and then we'll do I++. And then we could just say all towers, right, dot get I dot draw me. So I think that should work. Let's try it out. Okay, let's so we have an error here. I see it right away. This is a typo. Let's remove the S from there because our class is called tower, not towers. So, alright, so now if we click down, there we go. We're creating the cell, or we're creating the tower on the cell that we're hovering over, and it's drawing it for us every frame. And also, if we don't see it, but if we click on something that's already built, it's not letting us. But there's no way for us to visualize that. But based on the code, we know that that's what's going on. Okay, and I'm just gonna stop this video here, and in our next video we're gonna start working on the path, because right now, as you can see, if we click on the path, we could build on top of it. And in this type of tower defense game, we want to not be able to build on the path. So that's what we'll do in our next tutorial, so check that out. Again, all of these image files and all the data files that we will use in this tutorial series you can get at my website, sofacon.com. Also the source code freely available there as well. Yeah, so anyway, catch you guys next time, and thanks for watching.